So this is the Ford Mustang with its bare basics. Just shut this door, just got the motor on for the moment. And stereo looks pretty basic, of course, but never quite is. We can go to our phone. It's connected straight to the phone on the Samsung. Climate, if I push the right button, that's better. Climate there, and let me just turn that down. We can go back to our audio and say sources. Look at that, there's a Galaxy sitting there, and I've been watching on YouTube Ben Shapiro talking about free speech. There you go, a little bit of insight. The other bit that's a bit interesting in these things is over here on the computer. They have quite a lot of different bits and pieces, so you can go through from engine info, and I should put my glasses on too, because if you're looking at something that's blurry, and I'm looking something, something will be blurry to me without my glasses. I was just thinking, if this doesn't focus properly, which it is, good, okay. So as you can see, cylinder head, instant air temperature, inlet air temperature, sorry, oil pressure, etc. So basically you can scroll down and keep looking at various different areas of everything from tyre pressure to on each tyre, which actually, just as a note, that tyre pressure is about 2 or 3 pounds less, and the temperature today is about 20 degrees. And interesting how that was sort of 29 to 30 on the trip home. So you know, we'll probably pop a little bit in there, but once again, so you can go through and bring up all these areas by themselves and have you know, 100% display just on that, and equally so here, and it just keeps on doing a bit of the same. And these are really novel features, but you know, most times on the display over here, you've got a few bits and pieces that will tell you what's going on as well. So you can kind of look all around the place to see how all your gauges are going. The trip computer, I haven't played with a lot so far, but as you'll see, comes up, and on the tank that we've got at the moment, which is 3/4, we've got 347. And been getting about, depends on how you drive this thing, it can vary quite a bit of course, but been getting about 600 k's to a tank on country. When I was running it around Adelaide, I noticed that, yeah, definitely a lot heavier when you're doing city traffic, so you know, tricks for new players, etc. So then we go out of that, and now the interesting bit that's really a bit of fun, excuse me, you can have launch control. So basically this thing will just absolutely set it up to go. Now I won't do that right now, but launch control will just get this thing off the line so fast it's not funny. In brake performance, no, that wasn't the one I wanted actually, sorry, I just realised. Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. There is, when I look hard enough, where do they put that? Keep in mind, sorry, one of the things I was going to mention, the brake, where it freezes up the front brakes and stops the fluid to the rear, that's an option you need to turn on in the factory, and that you sort of do after you've got your roadworthy and everything sorted out. There's a few options that they have for track that you know, don't want to show people anywhere, but accelerometer, you've got a timer so you can actually work out your 0 to 100k, etc. Brake performance, I must look that up, to be honest. The reason I skipped past it before, I was just thinking, oh, I'm not sure I know that one 100% yet. Lap timer, so you can basically set, you know, track 1, track 2, track 3, and do your launch control we discussed, which gets you airborne, and basically gets it moving. And then basically come out of that, excuse me, Driver assist, a really good feature here. Used it the other day, which is that one. See the one that says Hill Start Select? Amazing. So I'm on Regency Road in Prospect, which is a fairly big hill on near Prospect Road, and of course I'm sitting with my foot on the brake, my foot on the clutch, ready to try and take off. Then I noticed, as I tried to do what I was doing, I noticed that I basically was not having to actually brake. I thought, well, what's that doing? So the moment I revved and pulled the clutch out, so you're not having to sort of have 3 feet, it really does sense that it's on a hill and then just lets you take off. I thought that was a really good feature, to be honest, for us lazy types. The rear park pilot, want that on. That's basically when I go into reverse, you'll see this happen, and basically the camera will come up, and Riley's out cleaning up the Boxster at the moment. But yeah, so that there, and what it will do is as I get close to something, it thinks it's a problem, it'll beep away at me and go crazy, of course. So, but yeah, that's a great thing to have on, and we'll come out of reverse now. The tyre pressure monitor you kind of saw. So basically, it's a nice. So the settings here, there is a little bit in here where you can change the LED colours of the screen. So this is predominantly at night time a blue LED. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, you'll see that. So you'll see all the blue there, blue on the cup holders, blue on the side. Actually, if I open the door, you might just be able to see that Mustang's lit up blue. Oh, there, if I do that, you'll see how that lights up blue. Now, you won't definitely see this, but there's no on the ground. What they do, they have a Mustang horse on the ground, and it's quite something. So a bit of fun. All right, so hit OK there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we know the engine's on. Okay, so and you've got a few other display settings and bits that you can chuck in there, and you can also you've got 2 modes on your alarm. You can decide what lights you want on and off, what you want locks to do. You know, you may want your locks to, the moment you get in the car, that it auto locks, etc, etc. And tyre mobility kit, I have no idea. Right. Oh, okay. Yes, of course. So, well, just check me on this one. They basically have a compressor and a can of exhaust shit in the back. So if you get a blown tyre, you might want to kind of think about that. I found that out when I got home, to be honest, but that's not a problem because we didn't have any issues, so it was good. All right, so anyway, that's just giving a bit of a run through. Most people will just go back to the end of the start of the menu, and they'll go to probably trip computer like so, and keep an eye on just, you know, how the kilometres versus fuel versus, you know, what they've got left to go. This car in total's been driven for 124 hours. There you go, so you can even see that. Back over to here, you've got navigation, but what I like about it is, of course, I'm using the device that I want to that I want to actually show you. Hang on, let's turn the lights off here too. That's better. Got some colour back on the screen now. Yeah, normally I could show you. Oh, there it goes, better. Normally I could show you if I go back to controls and I went to audio. Excuse me. Oh, it may do it. Okay, so if I go play, that should look at my last time that I spoke, was listening to Ben Shapiro. Just whether or not I've got to go into, now I think I've got to open the app on the phone actually, unfortunately, which it's a bit hard while I'm videotaping, but you get the idea. Once I've opened the app on the phone, it just comes up and you can just basically have a look at the title of what it is you're listening to. Not sure. Now playing Ben Shapiro Invades Canada Up Free Speech Club Talk. Oh, there you go. Fair enough. It's just for those that can't read. But yeah, look, it's quite a nice... oh, and so what will happen is we'll load up this phone that I'm using at the moment with a stack of apps on it. We're also getting a thing called a lockpick that goes into this, so this gives you all full functional video modes, etc. Not a big thing for me, to be honest. Car like this, you really want to be keeping an eye on the road for sure. Another feature that I thought was really, really nice, I've got to say this is great. Now, I've got a bit of a bad back, so they've got cooling on your seat. So right now my chair, my seat that I'm sitting in is being cooled, and it's getting cold very fast. And that's great. On a really hot day when you get into hot leather, I can see that has some great advantages, and you can have 3 degrees of it. But look at this. For people that have bad backs, and I was talking to Marcus, my mate in Bathurst, about this, this is a great feature. You basically have got cooling coming at you, so you look at your climate control, have a look at what you've got, all low. There's loads of cold air coming at you here. But guess what? On your back, where you're a bit creaky and old, and in my case, that is a great feature. I didn't even think it was worthwhile initially, and I've got heated seats in my 911 turbo Porsche, and I've never used them. So now I've found a use for them. I think, wow, that's actually quite a great idea. I always thought it was a bit of a joke, to be honest. But now the last one's here. Clutch in when you start your engine. You've got your hazard lights here. This one, and this one I've got to get into to find out what the heck they do, because oh, look at this, hang on, I just worked this one out. Okay, this is how you this is the mode that we all want to know. So normal mode is basically all traction control on, all basically everything just sitting there in safety first. Drive mode in sport gives you a little bit more ability to flick the wheels around a bit and do a few things. And you get over to racetrack mode, and that is, as you can see, the light for traction control has come off. So sorry, on, meaning that there's no traction control on. So you want to be real careful with this car when you do that. I absolutely tell you that I can be at 70 k's, and even without track mode on, I can actually make this thing absolutely just smoke up the tyres at 70 k's in second gear. So can you imagine when there's no traction control and there's no way to stop? That last mode, by the way, was snow mode, snow wet. I'll just bring that over there. So I would take it that mode has a lot of traction control, like an enhanced traction control when you're going up through some of those black ice roads and things through Falls Creek around here and Mount Hotham, etc. But for the moment I'm going to leave it in normal, because I reckon that well, I probably should have had it in, no, not really, no, let's just leave it in normal for now. So there you go. So we found out what that one does. I wonder if this switch here shows us oh, that's right, you can change the feel of the steering. Now, you know what, I probably should have tried that on the trip home. So let's have a look. What can we do? Sport, comfort, and I had it in normal, so I wouldn't know. In sport, I remember the video saying that it's just a little bit more precise in sport mode. Comfort, no idea, but we'll find out. I'll report back on that. So I think I've just about found, and you can manually turn traction control off and on with the third switch, which was the third one down here. So basically mode, track, etc. And then when your second switch is on, you've got your steering feel that you can just flick through, and I'll leave it on normal just for the minute. And then of course we've got traction control on, traction control off. I would, if you're seriously just getting used to this car, put your traction control on. Trust me, these things have got a lot of energy. By the way, it's got the shaker system in it. Don't mind my cigarette lighter not being in there. I've just been using it for a DMR handheld, and I've just come back from a trip, so you know what, I probably should be just a little bit good instead of making that look so terrible. And there we go, I feel better now. See, that's the OCD part of me coming out. The owner of this car, that there's like a glasses wipe. This here is like the softest cloth you'll ever find. And this car, this is how he keeps it all the time. Mark from Jarvis Ford, and by the way, it's a private sale, so please don't blame Jarvis Ford for this magnificent car, this incredible speed, this incredibly great sound system. It was definitely Mark all by himself, but mate, he's been in the game for a lot of years. Actually, I'll turn that off now, so we're taking that off. And yeah, look, if you ever need a car, now Mark's probably not the person to sell it to as such, but I mean, Jarvis Ford, they've looked after this car, and Mark's owned it for a while, and it's just so clean. It really is. I mean, there's really not a mark anywhere, and the body's just the same. It's crazy. All right, well, let's go on through the track controls a little bit and all the various computer bits and pieces. There's a lot more to show you, but I just won't do that to you. Just a quick bit, of course, you've got cruise control, all your phone controls just there, all your stereo controls, so you can go to presets, bits and pieces, volume up, down, etc. And of course your trip control here, and that's all given to you by a beautiful Roush steering wheel. So that's really quite a nice combination. So I was going to say the shaker stereo system, so that is the upgrade stereo, and it's 12 speaker from memory, and I tell you what, that competes pretty well with, I've got some pretty nice stereo systems in some of my cars, and this is not bad. The only thing I'll be doing is putting the upgrade subwoofer in the back, and getting that sort of clicking away, making a bit of noise. All right, a little bit longer than I wanted to go for, but look, it's worth anyone who's just bought a Mustang. Hopefully that helps you just to be able to run through. And I mean, have a listen to this thing just before I turn off. It's a bit of a, it's just, that has got a very nice aftermarket exhaust, cold air intake on the supercharger, blah blah blah. So there you go. Bit of fun. All right, all the best to you, and thanks very much for having a look at my little Mustang, how to make the trip computer and stereo work. Cheers.